We've waited so long for it. WAFCON 2024 is finally here and it has been explosive so far. Jesse, can we assume that this edition is better than the last one? Because the last one we saw 2.35 average per match, like when it comes to the goals. And in this edition, we're seeing 3.25 goals on average per game.
That statement should not only just be an assumption, but should be a fact. Then that speaks about the growth and the development. Because if it's not better than the last, then there's a problem. We have problems there. So definitely, I mean, impressive goals,
Yes.
impressive number of goals. I think the quality behind those goals as well, definitely growth from the last one. So we are off to a good start.
I mean,
I'm just sad that we're here.
In the last edition, the top scorer only scored 3 goals. Already, we've seen players score 4 goals. But moving along, match day 1, Zambia versus Morocco. What an interesting game that was.
What an interesting game. Sitting at home, Sabawailing to be in Morocco, because when such explosive moments happen, you want to be there. I think they couldn't have picked the better nations to actually do that opening. A lot of people thought that one team was going to walk away with the win, but I think both teams had so much experience and so much to prove. Morocco, being obviously the host, wanted to walk away with the first win. Zambia said, not today. And we've seen how they take away all the excitement in a lot of teams with the style of play. Absolutely explosive moments. I just want to give a shout out to both the teams. Let's look at Zambia. Very strong. You know, we speak about the importance of having those international pieces that bring just the excitement in the game. And we can speak about Barbra Banda because she's our fave on the show. But we're not just talking about her because she's a fave. We're talking about her based on the statistics.
And the story behind
it,
yes.
Knowing how, she's missed the last edition with everything that she's gone through on social media, coming back 24 years old. She's remained consistent. I always speak about the importance of consistent because let's put it WAFCON aside. If we're looking at her domestic league performance, she's a player that Mata also gives props to. We've seen the records at Orlando Pride and now she brings that experience into the game. That just goes to show the investment that she has in her craft at that age to be bringing us those explosive moments.
Yes,
the first goal, few seconds in, I mean, come on.
Incredible. That brought tears to my eyes. Barbra Banda, a story of patience and pain, and just seeing everything pay off in the first 60 seconds was beautiful to see. But speaking of beautiful, Senegal also was so dominant against DR Congo in their first game, winning 4-0. And we saw their strikers really, really impressed us.
Very, very, very sad for DR Congo because
Mama Diop and Ndaye.
Yeah,
incredible.
Absolutely. Incredible players, but I think this comes with, the experience that we're talking about. If we're looking at Senegal, I think they are more of a physical team. They can definitely work it to their advantage. I definitely didn't anticipate that score line. It might be a little bit too early, but I think that game for me was one of the most I didn't predict for that scoreline, but definitely rooting for Senegal. And I think they're going to really give a lot of teams a tough time because they are, I don't think when it comes to, analysis on that particular team, a lot of people know what to expect when it comes to Senegal.
Yes.
Exactly.
Now let's talk about my Jollof sisters, my, my Niger sisters. Their performance was sweet like pepper soup. Oshe. Now we saw Rinsola Babajide. She hit the Jota celebration after scoring that goal, and the star players. Have you been impressed by the star players, the players that have been expected to shine in this tournament so far?
Let's go back to the Jota moment, This is a player who wore the same jersey number as Jota. She used to be a player at Liverpool, so I think it hit home for her, Right. It was just a moment where she got an opportunity to find the back of the net and she used it to just, pay tribute to one of her favorite, players. I think that for me was probably the highlight of that match. But when we were looking at other players who we were really talking about, I think your plum trees, she's done well. We talked about how worried we were when she moved to Saudi. We didn't see a lot of game time from her. So we didn't actually see where she was in terms of performance, but then she comes through on national call duty and then she delivers exactly like that. Asisat, a player who's played at Barcelona and is currently at Bay, you expect them to bring that kind of game. And she was untouched. She was unstoppable.
Yes.
And I think we're going to see more explosive moments definitely from her.
Yeah.
And I think, for me, Nnadozie, a commanding goalkeeper,
yes.
makes the game to be what it is.
So, speaking of commanding performances, Banyana Banyana, now their first game, how was that? That was Coach Dr. Desiree Ellis. Got it spot on for me tactically.
Yeah, I think tactically, definitely. And we know that we were a little bit worried from them coming from that, a little bit of a political setback. And we were worried if the team's morale will definitely, play an advantage or disadvantage on the field. But I think 3 points, we can take it, we can celebrate the 3 points.
Yes.
We don't have enough time for me to discuss what I think or analyzing that game, but I think what's important is just that we walked away with the win. Definitely the penalty that we got really set, I think, the standards for the rest of the game. That set the tone. Linda scoring that goal, I think she's phenomenal. Jermaine Sioposeno as well, taking that second goal. It really put us on a good foot. But I think there's going to be more powerful moments from Banyana Banyana that we can experience.
And Jessica, midweek we were treated to some amazing games.
Yes.
We saw that 5-goal thriller between Zambia and Senegal. Can you talk to us about that? And also Morocco versus DR Congo.
For those that missed the action, Zambia against Senegal. Obviously, Zambia walking away with the 2-2 goal scoreline, and then DRC Congo obviously lost to Morocco. 4-2 was the scoreline. Let's talk about the the DR Congo match between Morocco. I mean, Sherbak claims her first hat-trick of the tournament. I think she's an explosive player, captain at the age of 33. We spoke about how age maturing into the game really helps her to balance the team. I think she's one player that we really need to look out for from the start up until the end. So I definitely think it was an easy win for Morocco just based on their experience. We saw DR Congo didn't really start well. When it comes to Zambia and Senegal didn't make it easy for Zambia. I do not want to lie, but I mean, that penalty definitely spoke volumes, and I think that probably was then the differentiator of that game for Zambia to walk away with the win. But I'm still confident that Zambia is still the stronger side between the two.
All right, let's talk about Group A, because we have 2 teams on 4 points, 1 team on 3, and 1 team officially out.
Are you going to ask me for predictions?
Yes.
Who do I think is going to...
You can't leave the FA show without giving us predictions.
The team that Chanda plays for and the team that Fatima plays for, I think those 2 nations are going to walk out comfortably in the group.
So the Lionesses of Taranga, according to Jessica, will miss out in Group A. Well, let's see what happens. For you watching at home, we have a special guest for you. You have to keep watching. Jessica, thank you so much for joining us. And stay tuned for our special guest.